Hello and welcome to a conversation. I'm having a conversation with the person you see next to me, of course. I mean, he really needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce him anyway. I'm an Emmy winner. He's done TV, film, last several 4 decades or so on the #1 daytime drama, Young and the Restless. He is still front burner storyline, and as my mother says, he's still fine. Help me welcome Emmy winner Eric Braeden. Hi, Eric.
Good for your mother, James.
She loves you. She's like, he's still hot. He's still hot. So
Did she tell you to go to get your haircut?
she was like, she actually kind of likes it now, but she liked my head shaved mostly. I'm just trying this out. I'm trying to get youthful again, and then I'll let it go. Then I'll probably shave it again.
Well, I didn't recognize you.
I know. See, it's only all this. I'm different. But Eric, it's good to see you as always. Always.
Same to you, James.
So I'm gonna start with something actually very light because we're gonna talk about all kinds of stuff. I got all kinds of things we're gonna talk about, but I want to start with something light first, and that is TikTok. When I saw you on TikTok, I was like, no, this is not the Eric funny. Because I know you're funny off camera. I know how funny some are, but I'm like, he's on TikTok. So who got you on TikTok, and how has it
been? TikTok. When I first heard that, I thought, what the hell is what? TikTok? YouTube. You know, my God. I remember going to soccer practice with my son in the 90s, right? I was coaching his team.
Yeah.
And he said, Dad, you got to invest in Yahoo.
Oh my God.
I said, what the hell is Yahoo?
Right, you're like, what?
Dad, just trust me. It's called Yahoo. I said, what the fuck is Yahoo? Yahoo. What does it mean?
Yeah.
And of course I didn't. Anyway, so TikTok, I know about as much about that as I knew about Yahoo. Now, someone put me on TikTok. So people talk me into things, you know?
Yeah, as I said, they talked you into it, obviously. Yes.
So now TikTok, and then there's another one. Obviously, I do Twitter.
Yes.
Facebook. I do
Instagram too, dude. Don't you do Instagram too?
Instagram, I think. Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Anyway, someone does it for me.
So yeah, well, for those, yes. But I would say but for you, because you are very present on Twitter, especially very present on there. But I want to ask, and on Facebook too, but I want to ask you, how do you view social media for yourself at this point? Like, is it just a platform to talk, platform to connect with? Like, how do you view it?
To be honest with you, I have no real forethought of it. Someone talked me into it, and I sort of looked at it and I said, oh, I agree. Now, to be very frank with you, this may sound strange, but I enjoy talking to my fans.
Oh, no, I think you do. I see it. It comes across.
I really do. I enjoy it. I get into some arguments here and there, but so what? We live in a democracy, so we have differences of opinion, you know? But I really enjoy it, and I'm very touched by some of it, you know, by what some people say, and very appreciative of it. So there's another one I do. What the hell is it called? Oh yeah, I do cameos now.
Oh yeah, Cameo. Yes.
Yes, and so is staying in touch with an audience, other than the money we make. What else is there for an actor?
Yeah.
But to know that he has made an impression on, in our case, millions of people. That's very humbling. A very nice thing to know. And then I'm very interested in a lot of people's lives, you know, and you hear some wonderful stories and some very sad stories. And if my cameo or my answering a tweet can give someone a semblance of joy, I'm happy. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
That gives a raison d'être to what we do, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, it does. This is kind of funny, but it's actually somewhat serious. On Twitter, every once in a while, there'll be a trend where it'll say either Eric Braeden or Victor Newman. And you'll look at the trend, and it's African Americans praising you.
Oh, nice.
And I've never asked you this question before because I find it, my brother and I were laughing about this because we were seeing it, how they'll say things like, you were raised by Victor Newman because, Granny and Grandma and Grandpa raised us on Victor Newman. Like, and you have a large African American fan base. I know you know that. But I never asked you this either. All the years I've known, I never asked you this either. I have an idea why they connect with you, but why do you think African American men, especially, connect with Victor Newman?
Victor doesn't take prisoners.
There you go. So yeah.
Victor is cold. Victor makes hard and tough decisions. But at the same time, he's very vulnerable. I think it's that combination that probably appeals to some people that they identify with. And I think a lot of people in the ghetto have tough exteriors and grew up tough and fighting, as I did. And yet inside, they have a big heart. I think that's what it is. I don't know. You know better.
I agree. As African American male who was raised by you also, and my brother and I, we always say it's because Victorious Newman. Why the name? Why your character chose the name? We always feel like it is that because your character came from nothing, right, and built. You're self-made. You built yourself, and you're right. We're the same. A lot of us come from nothing. I came from just whatever, and here I am doing that in my little mini empire. I think that's how we relate to you because if Victor can do it, I think we can do it too. It's like it's a camaraderie there, I think.
It's interesting. It is interesting. And I think it also has to do with the fact that I have enormous respect for people who work hard, people who come from nothing. Because I saw all that after my father died.
Yes.
In my personal family. I had to go to pawn shops to see if a piece of furniture had been pawned off or if there was enough food at home. And I had fights every day on schoolyards, every day. Didn't take any shit. So it's you grow up with a defiance, primarily when your father dies early. I was close to him. He died when I was 12.
Right.
And after that, we plunged into poverty, literally poverty.
Yeah.
And yet always had a certain arrogance about it because we remember the time before. And no one intimidated me. I won't let anyone intimidate me. I go right after you. I don't care who you are, how big you are. Even if you get your shit kicked out of you, I go after you.
Go down with a fight.
I think that is something that probably people from the ghetto understand instinctively. I think.
I think we do. No, we do. I said so people, those of us who grew up in poor neighborhoods and stuff, we do know that, and you're right. We love ourselves. We work really hard. Some of the things they portray about us is not.
I have enormous. How should I put it? I grew up at a time in Germany during the war and after the war,
right,
when people literally had nothing. I saw them work their fingers to a bone,
right,
to a bone,
right.
So when I see people get onto buses to go to work for someone in a menial job, go to hospital, work as nurses, they're trying to survive.
They are.
I know what that is about.
Yeah.
I've lived it.
And you can appreciate it. You can appreciate it. You gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta do what you gotta do. There's no shame in it. There's no shame in it. None. And that makes sense. So I think that's why they relate to you. I really think that's part of the reason they relate to you. Well, you're onto it. And so I wanted to ask, so I'll go into this next thing, and because you've been here a long time, obviously in America. And our country right now is going through I have to chuckle because it's going through a lot of stuff right now. I want to ask you, do you still have hope in America?
Yes. And the subject you brought up now, obviously, I could answer for hours.
Yeah, right.
But basically, intrinsically, I have great hope for America. I think basically Americans are decent. Basically, Americans are kind, want to help. And this present bullshit started by someone who grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth, who did not grow up in the street, who did not have to fight for it.
Nope.
I think this is a temporary thing. Most Americans are hardworking, and they will see through the bullshit, hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah.
I've seen through it the moment I first heard him.
Yeah.
I knew he was not legitimate. He's a BS artist, simple as it is, and just a big mouth, you know. And I have to say, I will not mention the network, but there's one particular network that has made that possible.
We know what it is, but yes, I understand.
Yeah. Period. Without that network, which then caused a lot of others to follow the internet, that would not have been accomplished. And one other thing I want to say. When the Soviet Union broke up, when East and West Germany were reunited in 1990,
right,
there was a certain guy who was the head of the KGB in East Germany. His name was Vladimir Putin.
Yes, I'm around. Yep.
And Vladimir Putin then promised himself, I will do whatever I can to sow discord into Western democracy, especially into American democracy, because in the end, it is America's strength and power and example that has brought Russia to the brink of disaster and to the falling apart of the Soviet Union. So I need go no further.
Right.
Now, okay?
Yeah.
So they have, with that disinformation, they've done that for years. They have sown discord into all Western democracies and into America, especially. It has worked.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of idiots to follow suit and rant and rave about total nonsense, absolute nonsense. And there's always what sells. And that other network I was just mentioning profits from selling bad news.
Mm-hmm.
Bad news sell.
Oh, it does. Totally. Oh, totally.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I now told you that I went after Mother Teresa. There's, oh my God. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
It sells. People say, oh, let me tune in. So they have exploited that. It's a business model.
Yeah.
It's a business model, pure and simple. No more.
I agree. Totally agree.
Unconscionable.
It's infotainment is what it is.
Unconscionable.
Yeah.
Because the damage that is done is extraordinary. Then another decision that was made that was absolutely horrendously deleterious to this country and our democracy is the Citizens United decision by the Supreme Court allowing huge, wealthy people to give as much as they want.
Yeah.
But what the hell do you think that leads to? Okay. The domination of a few over the many. That's what it leads to.
Yep.
Now, that same group is trying to prevent a lot of people from voting. I mean, this is so outlandish, it's extraordinary. Mm-hmm. But who is rubbing his hands is Vladimir. He sits in his Kremlin or his dacha outside of Moscow and says, oh, it's working.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's working.
If he had a mustache, he'd twirl it.
That's right.
You know, I agree. I'm like you. I think, I've traveled. I know you've traveled across America, and I've traveled across, and there's so many parts of America that are lovely. People are they're just hardworking, trying to make their ends meet, love their families, have their little parties on the weekends. Where it's like just regular life. They just want regular life.
Look, it is what you go through as a black man is a different story. I've not encountered that. I've encountered nothing but helpful and nice people ever since I came here as an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
Be it in Texas, be it in Montana, be it here in LA, nothing but nice people, helpful people. They respect immigrants. What you're going through as a black man is an entirely different story. So, have I seen improvements in that? Yeah. Is there enough? No. I did a film with Jim Brown in 1968. We did a film in Spain called 100 Rifles, and Jim had just retired from the Cleveland Browns. And I had enormous respect for him as an athlete, great respect. He and I argued a lot about, at that time, I think about Vietnam or whatever.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And, I'm a stubborn German son of a bitch, so
yeah.
I didn't take any shit. And not Z. So we had a lot of,
yes.
The guy from Ebony Magazine said, no one talks to Jim Brown like that. I said, well, no one talks to me like that. So, but Jim and I respected each other enormously. Great respect for him.
Yeah.
And we played tennis together sometimes, and neither of us want to lose, Yeah. And then I learned a lot from Clarence Williams III.
Oh yes, Clarence III. Yes, another one.
My half brother in a Broadway play I did in 1965 with Geraldine Page and Clarence and Kurt Jürgens and Eugene O'Neill Theatre, 49th and Broadway.
Yes.
And Clarence and I used to talk a lot about all this stuff, and I learned a lot. I was very concerned about the German-Jewish issue. I was very concerned about conciliation between Germans and Jews, and I didn't want both groups to talk past each other, to each other. And Clarence once said, I respect what you're doing. What do you think I go through on a daily basis? And I said, yeah, it's an ongoing struggle, but there have been improvements.
Yeah, there have.
No question.
Yeah, there have.
I initially was against busing.
I was part of busing as a kid.
So let me explain this to you.
Mm.
My son was then in grade school, and I hate smog with a passion.
Oh, well, you're in LA.
Smog with a passion.
Yes.
Okay? So I played competitive soccer here in LA. So we couldn't practice on certain days because the smog was too heavy.
I remember it, yes. I remember that.
And I hated these fucking school buses, these diesel buses. I said, you're picking up young kids from who knows where and bus them for an hour, hour and a half?
We did.
Smelling this shit in the air? That's outrageous. And then I must say, after all has been said and done, if you asked me a few years ago, I said busing has worked because it has introduced black children to white children and vice versa.
Yeah.
Okay? My son had a friend, he later on played football, I forget his name now, but he lived in the ghetto. He said, Dad, can we take him home? He doesn't have a ride. I said, let's take him home. And so it's blacks and whites began to know each other. Mm-hmm. In other words, the ghettoization is what made this so unbearable. And the attempt at redlining, of course, is a continuation of that separation.
Yes.
In less obvious ways, but it's there.
Oh, there, yeah.
We have got to get to know each other as human beings. When I started playing for the Maccabees, a Jewish team, I got to know some German Jews who had left in the late 30s, early 40s, who had been in camps. Wow. And to me, it was all mystery,
Yeah.
And then you get to know each other as human beings. We're all the same. We have the same dreams.
Yes, we do.
Same desires.
Yes, we do.
The same fears.
Yes.
Be it in any field. Are we good enough in school? Are we good looking enough to get the girl?
I was
Are
gonna
we,
say
are we
something.
strong enough to beat someone up? Will we earn enough money to sustain a family? These are all the same fears.
Mhm.
What is this artificial separation?
Right.
I resent it.
Yeah.
Besides that, how many intellectually bright people have I met in the Black community, in the Mexican American community? Do you know how many gardeners I know or maids I know who sometimes worked for me, whose children are now graduating in studies of genetics or whatever, or science or something?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The waste of intellect is so egregious. One of the brightest guys I know, Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, see, you know him. Yes, you know him. Yes.
I disagree politically here and there, but what a bright, bright man.
Yeah.
Extraordinarily bright.
Yeah.
His daughter's even brighter than he is.
Yes.
So holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, whoa,
Right.
you just see the synapses working hard.
Yes.
It goes on and on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at what's his name? deGrasse, the astrophysicist.
Yes. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Look at so many.
I know.
However, what I've always said to the Black community, you have got to show off people other than athletes.
Yes. I agree with that completely. Yes.
Other than athletes.
Mhm.
Don't only show me, LeBron James, etc. Show me the guy who became a doctor, a surgeon. There was a doctor at UCLA, a brain surgeon called Dr. Black, African American. Goes on and on. Those are the people you should show.
I agree.
Those are the people that should hang out, not the athletes.
Right.
It's a big deal. Okay.
Right.
Please. I want to show the people who accomplish things in mathematics and physics, in chemistry, in engineering, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
All the subjects I didn't like.
Me neither. No, I wasn't good in.
But do you understand? It's Don Lemon. Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I agree.
It's hard to watch him.
Well, you were with
another guy on CNN, Victor. What's his name? Victor, whatever.
Yeah.
Very bright, and we need to see more of that.
Yeah.
Blacks need to not only show off their Black athletes. I think it's a form of, well, it's not a form of racism, but a kind of saying, yeah, you're good physically.
Right.
No, show me the intellect.
Yeah, we're smart too. We got brains also. You were with my buddy not too long ago, Tavis Smiley, another guy that I love. I love.
Tavis.
We love Tavis. I love Tavis.
Tavis is, I'll do a show anytime.
Yeah.
Extraordinarily bright.
Yeah, I was saying exactly. Another smart dude who knows what he's talking about.
Very smart.
Yeah. So I agree with you.
Very well informed, very smart. And the Black community needs to show off more of those people, or the white community needs to give them jobs.
I would say that's the thing. It's like we're out there. We're trying. We're out there. It is starting to work. It's starting to work. We're seeing some changes. It's starting to work. But I know we do focus on rappers and athletes. That's usually what we focus on, right?
The rapping shit I don't like anyway. I don't like rapping. Sorry, I don't.
Yes, that's right.
And I love music, man.
Yes, I know you like music.
I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, my first impressions was Louis Armstrong.
Well, yes. Well, hello. Well, yeah.
I was a 12-year-old boy in Germany. We had enough money we could go to a concert to see Louis Armstrong. I will never forget it. One of the most extraordinary impressions ever.
That's legendary. That's legendary. I mean, who can say that?
And I imitated his voice. When saints go marching in, and I had a sore voice.
Yeah. Be careful with that. Yes, be careful with that. That's so funny.
I love music.
Yeah.
Love Black music. Love white music. Love classical music.
Yeah.
There are certain singers who are my favorites. Have you ever listened to a duet between James Brown and Pavarotti?
No, not that. I've never heard those two together. No.
Downloaded, called "It's a Man's World." I love it.
I'll look for it. I've never heard those two together. No.
fantastic.
Okay,
Love
gonna look that up. Look that up.
it.
So thank you for sharing.
You know, James Brown was in our set.
Oh,
And so,
on your set, really?
and so was Little Richard. Yeah.
Oh, it's about two legends. When were they on the set? When were they on the set?
They were fans of the show. This was in the 90s.
80s? 90s? Okay, 90s. Oh, yeah.
B.B. King was a big fan.
Didn't know that either. Wow.
Miles Davis stopped me at an airport in Germany. He had finished a tour, and I was there with my wife. We were taking off to somewhere. And he came up, and I didn't recognize him. And he was very nice. And I said, nice to see you. Thank you very much. And I turned, I said, who is that? That's Miles Davis. I said, oh. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Aretha Franklin is a big fan, or was a big
fan. We know that, yes, because she loved her some Victor Newman. She did. Yeah. She loved her some Eric Braeden. I remember that. That I remember. May she rest in peace. I do remember that.
I like black music, but I don't like rapping. I really don't. But a lot of it has to do with my hearing. I don't hear that well anymore.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
I can't understand the damn lyrics. What are they talking about? I can't understand the lyrics. You know?
Yeah, that's totally fine. But
maybe I should sit with Snoop Dogg one day and say, Snoop, whisper to me here. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, speaking of, now we'll go on to The Young and the Restless, because I can talk to you about everything. I mean, your life is just so, we can talk about everything else. I love talking to you about all this stuff. So thanks for sharing all that. And I have hope in America too. I just want to make sure I said I have hope in America too. I do. Okay. So you are front burner storyline, and which is just, to me, it's just incredible. I met Mark Grossman at the Emmys this year. I got a chance to interview him. Love him. So I want to ask you, because Victor and Adam, for the last year or so, you've had a really strong storyline with him. And he's an extraordinary actor. I think he's a very good actor. So what are some of your thoughts on Mark, the actor, and Adam and Victor's relationship?
Mark Grossman is a damn good actor.
I agree.
He's a very good actor. He really is. I watched him come on the show and saw him being inundated with pages of dialogue. And I thought, whoa. He handled it all like an absolute pro. And I said, man, what is your background? Where did you learn all this shit? And I forget what he said. I'm very impressed with him. I'm very impressed with him. He's a very, very good actor.
Oh, he is. For facial expressions, everything.
Very subtle. I don't know much about him personally. We don't have much time to talk to each other, really, on the show, which may come as a surprise to some people, but we don't. Yeah. We have no time. We do our stuff, and then we go our separate ways. Not like nighttime or film, where you really become friends with people.
Yeah.
You rarely do that on daytime.
Yeah.
Because the demands are just the highest demands of anyone in the business. To do a film now, I'd be bored to tears. Yeah.
You would. I know you would. You would.
Nighttime television, I'd be bored to tears. I need that constant pressure of learning the dialogue and then doing it as well as you can. So I have nothing but respect for Mark Grossman. But to be honest with you, I had great respect for Michael Mooney.
I remember, yeah, I know you did.
And I forget who the other Adam was.
You had Justin Hartley.
Justin Hartley, oh my God. Justin is a friend. And it was wonderful. I forget, he moved on.
Yeah, he moved on. Yeah, he moved on all right. That's that little show, the little tiny show. The little tiny show.
Right. Very good athlete. They were all very good actors individually. And, oh yeah, my God, Justin has, what a career.
Yeah, well, yes.
Career.
Yes.
By the way, a very good athlete.
Okay.
Very good athlete. Damn good athlete.
All right.
And
so do you think Victor and how do you look at Victor and Adam's relationship now? Because it's like you said, it's always been kind of like he's the other kid. He's
right.
Over here, but like Victor brought him in this last year and a half or so.
He was never the other kid. He was never the other kid to Victor. Victor had a dispute with Hope, Adam's mother, decades ago.
Yes.
Wanting to raise Adam in New York City.
I remember that.
She insisted on raising him on the chicken farm in Kansas.
Yes, I remember. Yes, I remember. Yes.
They're making all jokes about that during scenes.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yes, I'm sure. I remember all that. Yes. But Adam.
I tell him, I said in the middle of a scene, listen, son, you were begotten in a chicken coop. Okay, so don't you get nasty with me.
Yeah, I love it. Yes.
Anyway.
But Adam is, I figure that Victor doesn't view him that way, but it seems like that was always the thing. But this last year or so, I was like, Victor and Adam are kind of getting close, actually.
Yes, and Victor has always had, obviously, as any father, I guess, would, have a kind of a guilty feeling about not having been there in the important years. But for Victor, I have to say that his character obviously welcomed Adam and gave him actually better opportunities than he gave his other kids for a while. People forget that. And Adam, for his own reasons, own psychodynamics, rebelled against that. Didn't want any part of that. Gave his father a hard time, jealous of his siblings. So it's a difficult relationship, but I think Victor keeps on trying. He wants to acknowledge him as his son, and as I would in reality, but then there are points when the son rebels too hard against the father. Then you got to get tough.
Yes. Yes.
Enough is enough. As my father would say. My father would just sit at the end of the table and said, "Are you? He's my boy," and it's quiet.
Yes. Well, my mother would give a look, and that'd be it. You're like, okay, got it.
Uh-huh.
Give a look.
In my case, in a patriarchy like Germany, it was the father.
His father, yes.
Oh yeah. Or my mother would appeal to him, and then we were 4 boys, right?
Yeah.
And I always sat behind one of our maids when we were younger, until the age of 12.
Yeah, yeah.
Before then, we lived very well.
Yeah, yeah.
I always would make faces at them, make them laugh and everyone. And then my mother would lean to my father, and he would say, "Rayon?" And that meant quiet for a while.
Yes. You were a troublemaker, even back then.
Always.
Oh, yeah, always.
Always.
Always and forever, right? Always and forever. Now I want to mention, actually, because I do agree with you. I believe that Victor would love to have all his children there and surrounded by him. I think that's his end game. I know that Victor would love that. I believe that with all of my viewing of this character. Victor wants all his children by his side. That's what he wants. They make it difficult, but but they want, they don't listen to you all the time, but you want them by your side. I feel like that's what Victor's goal is, right? Yeah. Figured. Now I want to mention Victoria, because I want to tell you, Amelia Heinley, who's already an Emmy winner already, girl has some scenes this year, and you guys, we all said, because I don't know how you're aware of this, we've been calling her Victor Jr. We feel like she's the real Victor Jr. So what are your thoughts about Amelia as an actress this past year, and Victoria and Victor?
Well, first of all, Amelia, I adore her, just adore her. And that's a sweet girl, really. That's the nicest person. I have 3 granddaughters.
Yes, you do. Yes.
I just happen to have a soft heart for girls, and so they they wrap me around their finger.
Of course.
So I have a different relationship with my son, for example, who grew up,
Oh yeah, you're a Christian, just like
loving but tough.
Yeah.
And I took him to the ghetto boxing gyms when he was 8 years old.
Hey.
Gouvesu Gym. Yeah.
I know where that is. Yes, I know where that is. Yep.
So with my relationship to girls is just different. It's I don't feel the same kind of responsibility I felt towards my son, where I knew what he would encounter as he grew up. namely a lot of fights.
Yeah.
And with my granddaughters, it's just sweetness. It's just, they come and just love.
Yes.
So with Victoria, first of all, she's a very sweet girl, very sweet woman, a damn good actress. And Victor's proud of her, what she has accomplished. Now, there's sometimes a fine line when he sees her go a little bit too far, and you're still talking to the man. So, but I forgive her a lot of things. And interesting how this plays out on screen, and who else I like very much is Melissa Ordway.
Yeah.
Melissa Abby.
I got to meet her too. I got to interview her. I love her.
Great sense of humor.
Yes.
Very sweet, very nice to work with, great to work with as well. I'm really surrounded by people that I love working with, and of course, Melody, Nikki.
Well, of course.
Most of all,
yes.
right? And we are like two old shoes, and we just know each other so well.
Yeah.
And she's going to deal with me. Melody knows how to deal with me.
That's good.
She knows how to deal with me.
Yeah. I get the point. I think I get the point, Eric. She knows how to deal with me.
She knows,
Yeah.
She just sort of,
Yeah, Melody's, and people don't understand, Melody's hilarious too off camera. I know Melody. She's hilarious off camera too. So, yes.
a lot of laughs.
Yes, a ball laughs.
But Melody knows how to deal with me.
Very good. And of course, Joshua Moro. Of course, you've been father and son for half a century. It seems like, been forever.
Joshua is. I said, I forgive you that you're from Oklahoma, but he's a great guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
He has a wonderful family, and he is a damn fine actor, and great sense of humor.
Yeah.
And we laugh a lot. We have to be careful not to laugh too much.
Yes.
And so, just surrounded by very, very nice people.
Well, I want to ask you about a specific scene that was recent, because this leads into another actor I want to ask you about. So there's a scene where Ashlyn is in jail, played by the wonderful Robert Newman. We're going to talk about him in a second, Robert Newman. And Victor shows up. I love it. Victor's hilarious to me because Victor just does not give a shit. So you walk up and you're like, it's nice to see you. Some of the lines they give you are hilarious. We off camera, we're all laughing. We're like, oh my God. But you said, nice to see you. But the scene itself, this is a wonderful scene. And I want to know how you feel this. The bars are between you. He stands up off the bed. You say something, a step forward. He says something. It's almost like a chess game, step forward. And then at some point, you're at the bars. And he gets smart with you and you grab him and do your Victor thing. So first of all, I just want to say that's one of my favorite scenes of last year of yours. And it was just so well done. And Victor being kind of funny and smart ass, but serious. So I want to ask you that scene and how's it working with Robert Newman?
We didn't work that much together. He's a good actor. Yeah, I mean, we didn't work together that much, and I was not necessarily that happy about that denouement between Victor and Ashlyn being that short. Because I watched Ashlyn come into town, and I suspected him from the very beginning.
He did. Victor did in the very beginning.
I trust him from the beginning.
Right.
So I thought it should have been Victor who does him in, because he's protecting his family. But then Nicholas protects his sister. So it worked out. I'm glad that you enjoyed that final scene as much as you obviously did. That's nice to know. I had seen the ending differently, but yeah, I can tell you.
Part of the thing is, but you is that whenever you come on screen, we're all like, okay, because people are like they expect Victor to be a certain way always. I think fans just gotta expect it. So when you come on screen, like, what's Victor gonna do? What's he gonna say? Is he gonna be smart mouth? Is he gonna be this? I mean, like they're ready for you. Like when you come on into a scene, like, here he goes. And I just know with those scenes, well, even with Richard Burke, who played it beforehand, it was always Victor was always suspicious. Victor was always like, I'm not sure about this dude.
Oh yeah.
And I know they try to compare you guys, it seemed like also. How'd you feel about that? Are they trying to compare Ashlyn to Victor?
He tried to what?
They try to compare Ashlyn to Victor.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, no.
But it was an attempt to create real
yes.
rivalry. No.
Yes.
I had his number from early on.
Yeah, you did. So your thing was more of you wish that Victor had taken him down. Not, I guess the one that took him down was Nick, I guess, because by accident, I guess.
Has that been on the air? Has that been on the air?
Yeah, that's been on the air. Yeah, it's on the air. Yeah. So I guess Nick took him down, so to speak. Nick and Victoria, I guess. Yeah. But Victor, I did too. Victor was on the case, and I kept thinking, because you had Michael on your side and all that, and I kept thinking, yeah, why didn't Victor? I mean, the powerful Victor, he should have been the one to kind of, knock him out.
I had some scenarios in mind. Anyway.
Yes. As you know, it's soap opera, and Eric Braeden does his job. That's what he does.
Let me tell you something. I just talked to my son lately about writing and writers. It's the most difficult job in Hollywood is to write for a soap.
I agree.
There's nothing more difficult.
I agree.
I don't know how they do it. I do not know how they come up with these stories day in, day out, year in, year out. Endless. It's a medium with such voracious appetite. You need to feed that machine daily. That's hard. That's very, very hard. On a script, with my son, screenwriter, he has weeks and months to polish something.
Yeah.
Make it right. On this, in daytime, my son says, when I explained to him how many pages we did, he said, "You're lying." I said, "No, it's the truth." He said, "This can't be. He can't imagine it."
Right.
Anyone in the rest of the business can't imagine how much we do, how much writers write on our show. So obviously not everything can be to one's 100% satisfaction. It's not possible. I admire them. I have great respect for writers and had the greatest respect for Bill Bell, who started all this,
They did. They got They got 2 shows going. 2 shows still going. We're talking nearly 50 years nearly on one and 35 on the other. I mean, that's 80-some years of soap.
Talking about my son right now, he directed the film called Den of Thieves.
Yes.
And when I came to the set of that morning, I saw all the honey wagons at 6:30 in the morning. I said, "Oh shit, man! I've done this for so many years." And the honey wagon, and then I said, "Wait a minute! I'm on my son's set. This is because of my son." So suddenly I woke up.
But right.
Yes. So I walked towards a group of actors who were sitting outside of the little house where they were shooting, and they recognized me. Blah, blah, blah. So they knew that my son was directing the film and had written it. So suddenly, talk about Hoover Street Jim. Suddenly, a door to one of the honey wagons opens. The guy comes out. He starts walking, a black guy, starts walking towards our group. He looks at me. "Wait a minute. You Victor Newman?" I said, "Shh. You Victor Newman?" God damn it.
You're right, exactly.
Anyway,
right. Yes.
I can imitate it very well.
Yes.
So then he told me that he used to come to Hoover Street Gym. It's Ice Cube's brother.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
O'Shea Jackson's uncle.
Oh, okay.
Ice Cube's brother, and I assume Ice Cube as well.
Probably.
Used to come to Hoover Street Gym. There was a little wall they had built where people could sit on a bench and watch people work out.
Okay.
And that's something?
That is something.
Brought tears to my eyes.
Oh,
You know? Yeah.
yeah. That's
Anyway.
funny. Do you mind? I mean, as we start to wrap this up, I talk to you forever. As we start to wrap this up, do you mind being called Victor Newman all the time in the street? Do you mind if someone goes, "It's Victor"? Does it bother you or no? Yeah.
Water off a duck's back. No.
Yeah.
No. That's no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if someone goes, "I know you from Rap Patrol." I know some folks who tell me, "Oh, Victor," or "I know you from Titan." Does it bother you? Or you're just like, "Nah, it's fine." They recognize me, right? They recognize me.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Of course.
Because I think it's an honor. People recognize you and stuff. And they go, okay, and they confuse. They don't know your real name sometimes, but they go by it's Victor because it's all love.
Many of them now know the real name.
Yeah.
Many of them do.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's just wonderful. I mean, what are we in the business for? Other than employment.
Yes.
The business to
Yes.
be acknowledged and be recognized.
Yes.
What are we all in life for? To be recognized.
Yeah.
You have your fans.
Yeah, I do.
You have your fans.
Yep, I do.
The guy who washes my car does a good job. I acknowledge him.
Yep.
I acknowledge the doctor who did a good job.
Mm-hmm.
But I will get pissed off with the doctor who doesn't do a good job, who sort of phones in his examination.
Yes.
Hey, come here. The fuck do you think I'm paying you this money for? Your job, will you? I don't know. Bum, 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 bum.
Yes.
I don't care who it is.
Yes.
So we must acknowledge each other as human beings.
I agree with that. I do. And I'm acknowledging you. Thank you, Eric, once again for an amazing interview.
And
I love talking to you. I'm always honored.
And I just got a call from your mother. She should get a goddamn haircut.
That's good old Benita. That's my mother. I'm sure she's thinking that. Yes. Eric Braeden, you guys, thanks for the conversation. And you can watch it literally. So, Eric, you always are great. And you always support my career. So thank you so much for that, especially.
Good man. Okay, James.